Halo Studios pandered to the modern audience and it cost them everything. Apparently, yeah, layoffs. I be real. That's not a good sign. Layoffs straight after a launch is a questionable behavior. That is not normal. See, you can say anything about Nintendo right out here, but there seems to be the only major company with big decently sized studios that never have layoffs. Anyway, this refutal we're going in. It's just interesting. I don't know. I guess the three pre-story missions were not that good besides everything else. Anyway, we're going in.
Hey, what's up guys, Riff here. So all I can say to start off this video is total Chud victory. It happened again. The Chuds have spoken. They said, hey.
Which is so interesting. Also, please consider like subscribing. I appreciate it. I don't know. Like, I would have never imagined that this would happen to a major Halo release. Like, I would, right? Considering that they're apparently working on a remake for 2, they're probably going to remake 3 as well. I'm just very confused. How you can mess this up. I don't know. See, it does really look like the campaign devolved. I went to the races yesterday. Was it fun? Hopefully. JBC in the game has lost his family hammer twice in 10 minutes. He promises he won't lose it again. Happens.
Halo campaign evolved is a steaming pile of garbage and it's going to lead to layoffs, and that's exactly what happened. You can see Halo Studios hit by layoffs after campaign evolved launch, and that is to the surprise of absolutely no one who isn't a desperate shill on social media. And it's once again proving all you got to do to win is sit back and let them destroy their own companies. At this point, the layoffs are to be expected. We already talked about the Bethesda situation earlier this week. We also have a...
Yeah, and people were apparently going after Jorge for this, by the way, which is very odd, because, like, right, it's like, oh, these poor people were to him like, oh, these poor, you're to mean these poor developers, they're not at fault. It's the corpos, it's the higher ups that are at fault. Nope, it's not, because this whole problem does not start with the higher ups. It is much deeper. It is with the developers as well. The issues also come with the developers, right? Right? It's really that simple. It really is. Because, like, have you seen these people? Every time they do anything, it's that identity first. I'm not a game dev. I'm a trans developer. I'm not a graphic designer. I'm a non-binary graphic designer, right? It always comes with that. All this weird ideology shit is ingrained to the tiniest, smallest person in there. That's a reality. Halo's buns. I didn't even play it. Halo's great up until 4. Then it becomes questionable because with 4, you can tell people started developing the games that have according to what others said. People started developing Halo games that know little about the lore and franchise, apparently, right? I mean, you have literally people working there that say they don't like to develop games that are shooters, right? They don't like developing games that have guns in them, right? And I'm like, why are you there? This is a first-person shooter. Are you stupid?
mass layoff round expected for EA as well. And we also have the Activision Blizzard situation where the allegations against that company that plagued...
Apparently, as far as I know, it was all lies. Apparently, the Activision Blizzard thing, the allegations were apparently false. they were lying. Anyway, so therefore we can call that one character in Overwatch McCree again, right? Though I think most people actually never stopped. I got this game, I was hopeful. Now I'm like, fuck, since I'm streaming the game and have to finish the campaign at this point. Should play the original Halo out of spite.
Them for years have been largely debunked, and now you have these weasels like Jason Schreier, who are a part of that whole campaign, desperately going to YouTube to defend themselves. And by the way, that is a platform that he mocks all of his critics for using. And now we have this. Halo Studios with a round of layoffs, many employees announcing, even after 6 years of being with the company, they have been laid off. And this is not a surprise to...
Yep. Which is interesting, right? Who lied about sexual harassment. The people going after Activision and Blizzard. Interesting. 60% review, 11k reviews by the way, which is crazy. Just 2.6k in game. Isn't that a little low for a Halo game?
Anyone who's paying attention, just look at the Steam charts. I know all of the usual suspects get very mad when you pull this up, but guess what? It was right again. It was an indication this game was a massive flop, and that makes sense when you have 2,600.
Apparently, the PlayStation numbers weren't that big either. Apparently, they weren't that big either.
100 in-game players for Steam only a week after release of a remake of one of the great classics in the gaming scene, and even more players right now are playing the Master Chief Collection. Okay, that should really tell you something. In fact, the PlayStation 5 release for this, which was a little experiment, was an absolute disaster with just 1% of PlayStation.
Halo Campaign Evolved performed well on Xbox, but PS5 gamers give it a collective shrug. Just 1% of PS5 gamers tried it, hurting Xbox brand identity for no real return. What? That's kind of sad. That's sad. I mean, I guess. See, we have to look at this in like proportion. There's still not that many people that own a PS5. There's still a large portion of PlayStation like players that still play on PS4 because the PS5 doesn't really have that much of a return on investment. And it likely will have less and less considering that they're going digital only.
5 gamers even trying it, and now there's some data to suggest that in the month of July...
Bro, they got fucked by Palworld. By Black Flag? Interesting. Ubisoft W, I guess. Of course you don't win against Call of Duty, right?
Halo Campaign Evolved only sold 350,000 PlayStation copies, getting beaten out by Palworld, Minecraft, Grand Theft Auto 5, among others. Now, of course, don't point this out because people on social media, the shills, the sycophants, will say Halo fans are the most miserable, unappreciative fans in the world, and if Halo dies, it's because nothing will ever be.
If Halo dies, it is Halo Studios' fault. Absolutely. Halo was in decline starting with Halo 4, arguably. Not with Campaign Evolved. With Halo 4, apparently. Because people really, really didn't like this game, right? Halo Infinite was already not performing super well as well. So there's that. Online is essentially dead, right? So there's that. It's also questionable to release Combat Evolved without a multiplayer. That is a very odd and questionable choice.
Be good enough for them. Even if you purchase the game and it doesn't work because of Halo's End, and then you try to get a refund, and then they deny your refund. But the report for the layoffs comes from Smash JT. And of course, people are immediately trying to say, oh, this isn't real, because how could a YouTuber have any sort of inside knowledge on this situation? But of course, it'll turn out to be true, but also the initial reactions to this were one of pure ecstasy from gamers. You can see various quotes celebrating this. Actions are finally having consequences again. It turns out if you produce slop and you underperform as a company and as a development team, there's consequences, including layoffs. And of course, imagine my shock when the modern audience pulls up to the quotes of this announcement and literally perform.
Here's the thing. I think a lot of this comes from massive overspending. And I mean massive overspending. I prefer Star Wars Battlefront over an Xbox made game. The thing is, right, Halo is one of the most popular franchises ever, right? It is arguably the first person shooter. It's just that a lot of these this company, I can almost guarantee you massively overspend on this game, right? This is a game that did not need arguably did not need a remake, right? Especially since you can get something with much greater value, which is the This remake makes no sense. There is no point. I can spend money on the Master Chief Collection and get multiple games for less than what this game adds. This game adds nothing. This game adds nothing. From what I've seen, it adds 3 missions, and that's it. It adds nothing. There's nothing new to this. The only thing they arguably have increased is graphical fidelity. Nothing has changed. It is for the most part still the same game. And they probably, to squeeze out every single pixel, probably massively overspend. Of course, there will be layoff. There's no reason to buy this game. With the Master Chief Collection, there's no reason to buy this game. Zero. None. There's no reason. Why would you buy this? There is none. Right? If there was multiplayer, arguably, I could see it. Right? Fair. I could see it. There is none. There is none. I just don't understand. You know what this reminds me of? When they remastered The Last of Us right after it released. It's the same thing. Why? Not even long after it released. It's like, what? It doesn't make sense. There's nothing here. Yeah, I'm on PS5 and on some of the levels with the flood. There's so much going on that the game actively slows down. Oh, no one? Oh, it also is badly optimized. I'm not surprised. Apparently, they also made a lot of some of the zones, some of the areas, levels, whatever you want to call them, easier. So as far as I've heard, they massively overspent probably on this.
The ultimate meme, and I'll explain why in just a second. So here's some of the quotes. This person saying, "I don't know why people celebrate layoffs like this when the people actually responsible for the crappy games you hate aren't going anywhere and all get bonuses." Here's another one saying, "Yeah, Halo fans don't deserve anything." And another one saying, "I don't want to hear a single one of you bitch about no Halo after this." They literally did the meme. They captured the exact dialogue that I've been covering the last week. They captured both of these tweets, one with the Halo situation and one with the Bethesda situation, and made a sort of amalgamation of the two in the quotes of someone celebrating the layoffs.
Of course I would celebrate. These are people that don't deserve to work there either. If you think that this isn't also on the devs, you are sorely mistaken. You are absolutely mistaken that this isn't that this isn't on the devs themselves as well. I mean, have you looked at the whole team? Like, have you looked at what teams they have? Like, how the teams look there? This is absolutely not a single person in there actually has ever touched and played a Halo game. There's no fan. See, a lot of these developers are not even fans of what they're actually making. We have seen this with was it with the recent Diablo, right? Not the mobile one, the mainline one. A developer was surprised by his own game because this man hasn't played the game. They don't even play their own games. What do you expect here? Nothing.
You can't make this up. The modern audience, well, their games might suck, but they produce a lot of great content on social media. But of course, Smash JT would quote himself with some confirmation that the layoffs are indeed happening. And now, of course, the games journalists are behind on this and they're begrudgingly confirming what we already know. But you can see various posts from people at Halo Studios announcing that they are hashtag open to work. Even individuals like Nick here, who is working for 6.5 years on Halo and dodged so many rounds of layoffs, well, dodge no more. They are now hashtag open to work. And you can see people saying overheard at Halo Studios, I'm just a stack of excuses over here. Amazing stuff. Now, of course, obligatory response from Asmongold in the replies saying, welcome home. Nothing makes people more furious on social media than him posting this meme in response to another round of layoffs in various industries, including the gaming
Well, put the fries in the bag, I suppose.
industry. But you know what, guys? It's not over yet. Halo Campaign Evolved still has some great selling points, like sand physics. No, hold on, guys. Really. This is what Halo players were looking for.
Halo Campaign Evolved has great sand physics. What? Oh, wow. By the way, great, quote-unquote, great... Wait, by the way, great sand physics. He lifts his feet, and the sand tray just follows him, like he was just dragging it through the sand. Yeah, sorry, buddy. That isn't flying. What is this? What? Get out of here.
Forward to sand physics. Of course, you can see quotes saying the guy who spent hundreds of hours on this just got laid off. Yeah, probably. That would seem about right. Here's another quote saying the highest compliments paid to this game are sand, water, and lighting and spark effects. All consequences of Unreal Engine / time wasted not polishing the actual gameplay. And they're not even joking, by the way. There was an article praising the water in Halo. They did the meme. Again, just like the modern audience, they're so predictable. These games journalists do the meme.
Let me say this again. Massively overspending on things that are not that important. You can't swim anyway. So what's the fucking point? You can't swim anyway. So what's the fucking point? Anyway.
When they're trying to prop up slop games, they start making some article praising either the environment or even directly the water. Because that's what Halo players wanted. They thought, wow, a ground up remake of Halo Combat Evolved. I hope the water is good. It's pathetic. But of course, things get even worse. We're learning more information about the development of this slop. IGN reporting. A new report suggests that Halo Campaign Evolved had a fairly troubled development that caused the multiplayer project to be cancelled. Imagine my shock when this team of activists had development troubles with Halo Campaign Evolved. I cannot believe it, ladies and gentlemen. But you can see the quote saying, I'll never understand how remakes can have troubled development. The game already exists. Half your work is done. Literally. What? How is this even possible? They even bragged about having the coding for the original game. They just didn't know how to use it. That's the problem with these activists.
What I'll never understand how remakes can have trouble development. The game already exists. Half your work is done. You're telling me that these people had the code, they just didn't know how to do with it? How is this possible? The question is, can they put the fries in the bag without yapping about slavery? No. They'll yap to you while working a low-paid slave wage job now because they were stupid. Why does it always come back to Asmongold? It always comes back. Everything is the Roach King. How? Hey, still better than some of the companies that fucking lose their code. Yes, there's actual companies that lose the fucking code. You'd be shocked.
They don't know how to actually develop games. They just destroy what's already been created. Here's another quote saying, the more I think about this, the more I hate campaign.
See, what I believe is they're remaking the old stuff, so the old stuff eventually just falls back behind. You forget about it, you purchase their new slop, and that now becomes the original. And they're gonna do this with everything.
Evolved. Why was this made? Shameless cash grab. And they were trying so desperately for a W, something that will produce goodwill for the company, and it failed. Okay? This is the second remake. Okay? This is a ground up remake, the second one, but still. Does that not feel utterly shameless at this point? And that's why they made it. Clear.
I think we didn't actually have a Halo 1 remake. I think we had a remaster, right? We also have the difference, right? Graphical update, but everything's the same as a remaster, right? If it's a ground up remake, then it's actually like a different game, right? At this point, right? The code's different, right? It's not the same, right? That's why, for example, I don't consider Brilliant Diamond, Shining Pearl actual remakes. They're technically closer to a remaster. And then people, for example, go like with Ocarina of Time Majora's Mask and call these remakes. They're not remakes, right? The first remake of Ocarina of Time will be the one that releases this year. The one in 3DS is a remaster. It's pretty much the same with graphical updates. That's really it.
Clearly. Here's another quote saying, Halo 5 Guardians, troubled development. Halo Infinite's troubled development. Halo Infinite's troubled live service. Halo Campaign Evolves troubled development. Halo Studios' latest canceled projects. Am I seeing a pattern? Perhaps Halo Studios should be shut down. Yeah, I think that is the very clear pattern here. This has been going on for well over a decade at this point. Non-stop troubles over at Halo Studios, formerly
Started, by the way, with Halo 4.
343, and actions have consequences. I'm surprised they're still hanging on. Like, what is the point? And they were really gearing up this game for a Halo 2 ground-up remake. They were heavily hinting towards that. Are they going to follow through on that after a round of layoffs and terrible sales and numbers in terms of concurrent players? I hope not. That'd be like the definition of insanity. Doing the same thing over and over again, expecting a different result. It's going to flop as well. But some people seem to be confused, like the Act Man here saying, this pattern of every studio getting hit with layoffs or closed immediately after releasing a game is getting very tiring. Really hope something changes soon. I have a solution. Make better games. As people point out in the quotes, you could just make better games, and maybe your studio won't shut down immediately after release, or you have to do a mass round of layoffs. Like, it really is that simple, ladies and gentlemen. But that is the situation involving Halo Studios and Halo Campaign Evolved. I wish I could say I'm surprised, but it's something I've been hinting at. In my initial coverage, right after release of this game, I said, layoffs are coming. And of course, that made some of the wackadoos on social media very mad. Well, guess what? I was right again. And it's not like some amazing Nostradamus prediction. When a game comes out with abysmal numbers, there's going to be layoffs. That's not like some incredibly intelligent observation. It's just common sense, but common sense is something that is completely devoid of the
I mean, yeah, you perform bad, you're gonna get fired. That is arguably what has been happening here, right? You perform badly, you get fired. It really is that simple. It's actually, I am surprised of how simple it actually is. Right? You fuck up, you get fired. Problem solved. It really is.
modern audience and all of their sycophants. But anyways, that's going to do it for this video. If you enjoyed, please consider giving the video a like, consider subscribing and turning on notifications for daily uploads as well as multiple streams.
Yep, that's pretty much the end of the video. In other words, this game was not needed. There was no need for this game to exist. Zero, none, nothing. There was no need. You want to play anything Halo related? Just get the Master Chief Collection. You get like at least 3 good games, one incredibly terrible, and then like I think another mid game, and that's it. Like, just get the Master Chief Collection. It really is not that difficult, and you, for the most part, you'll be fine, right? You'll be okay. That's all there's to say to it. This was not needed. Do not spend your money on this. Put your money somewhere else. Put your money to like a developer. You know, get Palworld. Get Palworld. Instead of buying this, get Palworld. They at least care. So there's that.